The following program may contain strong language and brief nudity. But don't get your hopes up. After all, this is public access TV.
Hi folks, welcome to the Gene and Dave Show. Dave can't be here right now because he's on vacation yet again. So I've asked my twin brother Gene, the quad father, to fill in for Dave. Thanks for being here today, Gene. Thanks, Gene. Pleasure to be here. Today's show is all about traumatic brain injury. A good friend of ours, Cheryl Green, had a traumatic brain injury a few years back. Now this caused some real problems for her, but it was hard for me to understand her disability because, well, for as long as I've known Cheryl, she's always been highly intelligent, highly talented, really motivated, energetic. And when she said she was traumatically brain injured and couldn't function well, I just couldn't understand it. But you'll understand it better when Cheryl explains to us the problems she had when she tried to cook a fish. Let's listen. Hi folks, we're here today with Cheryl Green. Cheryl's visiting from Portland, but she used to live here in Austin, and she's been a fine member of the arts community for a number of years. And Cheryl does a lot with video. Cheryl, what are you doing now? Tell us about your show. Tell us how it got started, and God, we'd just love to hear it all.
Okay, so long story short, I got a traumatic brain injury in 2010, and a few months after that, or some unspecified time that I don't remember, I was invited to do a project in Portland called No One Wants to See the Wires, which actually is almost identical to Actual Lives Austin, or the other Actual Lives, where you get together in the workshop format and everybody writes their own piece and we work them out together and then have a professional public performance. So I got to do that, and at the time I started that, I was feeling too impaired to prepare a live performance. So I thought I would just audio record a monologue and just, play a CD, turn the lights out and just play a CD. I don't know, because that's how I prefer things to be. Lights out, just sitting still. Mm-hmm. But then one day, I tried to cook a piece of fish. Maybe you've heard about this?
I've seen the video.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny, folks.
Yeah. I tried to cook a piece of fish, and so awful. It was terrible.
Well, tell us about how does the brain injury manifest itself? What sort of things do you notice, or would other people notice in you?
The list is so enormously long that the best way for me to do it is to tell you what went wrong when I tried to make the piece of fish.
Okay.
So,
let's do that.
One thing is that I didn't know the steps. I couldn't break down the whole cooking task into steps. I didn't even know that there were steps to break it down into. So I couldn't see that what I was doing had a big picture and details. And then I got out the fish, and I knew you're supposed to put salt and pepper on both sides. But I didn't know how to get it on both sides. And I couldn't visualize in my mind, pick the fish up and flip it over. I couldn't even understand. I'm like, you can't see both sides at once. I only see one side. And so I couldn't imagine what wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. I couldn't visualize what wasn't right there. And I got out all these forks, and I had this row of forks, and I was pacing back and forth, and I was crying, and I just couldn't figure out how to solve the problem. I didn't know that I was the problem. I thought it was the fish. And I got more and more worked up without realizing it. So emotionally worked up and unable to calm down. So all of those were brain injury symptoms. I finally decided I'll just put salt and pepper on one side, and I don't know what's going to happen. So I seasoned the fish, put it in the pan with some oil, and then just stood there. then I
Waiting
turned
for it
on
to
the
cook.
stove. Yeah, waiting for it to cook. So then I turned on the stove. Again, I don't know what the steps are or how to do them in order. Turn on the stove. It cooked for a few minutes. And then I thought, oh, wait, you get the spatula out and you pick it up and you flip it over. I remember that. Okay, it's coming back to me. So I grab the spatula and I get the fish and I thought, you know, it'd be much more fun to drop it in from a great height. So
Into the oil.
Into the oil. So poor decision making, impulsivity, and just like, why would you be bored with how you make fish? Like, just do it. So I picked it up and I dropped it from as high as my arm would reach, and the boiling oil splattered all over my face. I got grease burns on my hands, grease burns on my face. I'm crying and crying and crying and pacing, and it took 45 minutes to cook one fillet of salmon.
Oh, and fish usually goes fairly quickly, too,
Yeah.
so 45 minutes is...
Yeah, because that whole process of trying to get the fish into the pan and then turn the pan on, it was just ridiculous. And so after that happened, I went to my journal and I wrote down everything that happened, because that's what I did back then. If you write down everything you do wrong, maybe you'll do it right the next time, which is not true. It just gives you a journal of everything you did wrong.
Were you not able to remember the things you did wrong, or how?
I don't know why I was obsessed with writing down everything.
I mean, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was just obsessed with writing writing in my journal every single thing I did wrong, or every single thing that was hard. If I didn't do it wrong, it was something somebody else did that was hard, and it wouldn't have been hard before the brain injury. So I documented everything. I needed proof.
Did you ever write down it was the fish's fault?
No, I felt guilty putting the blame outside myself like that. So,
Well, that's very mature.
thank you. Uncharacteristically mature. So I wrote it out, and sometime later, again, I don't remember, I have no idea how much later, I thought, that would make a funny film. You could do like a Rachel Ray cooking show out of that I did. So I sat down, and in 10 minutes I had cranked out a fake daytime cooking show where and cooking with brain injury is what I called it. Just showing a slice of life. Like, this is how much can go wrong for a person with a brain injury who looks fine on the outside. These are the kinds of ridiculous things that go wrong. And so I wrote that script, I brought it to No One Wants to See the Wires, and we filmed. And I had a friend who's a professional filmmaker, and so she filmed it and edited it for me for free.
And it was a big hit.
It was a big hit. Well, what's funny is that Bill, my co-star, who also doesn't get anything right in the show, in
Bill
different
also
ways.
has a brain injury.
Yes, he does.
Bill doesn't get things right all the time.
Right. In the show, I don't remember what I was going to say.
Well,
Wow. What did you last ask me?
Well,
And don't edit this out, because this is what happens to me when I talk to people.
oops. Cheryl just had a minor memory lapse. Hey, we've all been there. Yes, but that's all part of traumatic brain injury. And then you ask her, how is it she had trouble cooking a fish, but she could produce a documentary, a very complicated documentary. And here's how Cheryl explains that. It seems to me to be a quantum leap between not being able to cook fish and then producing your own videos. You just recently made a documentary.
Yes. Okay,
And
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The technical aspects involved in that are huge.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to understand, how is it that a person who has trouble cooking fish can do a documentary? That's
Great question. I can answer that. Part number one to that answer is 4 years have passed.
okay. So
That makes a big difference. So in the process of writing Cooking with Brain Injury and rehearsing it and setting everything up for it, that started to give me some of my skills back. Because they just said, sit at home and rest. Don't do anything. Your skills will come back. I'm like, how will your organizational skills come back if you never have to organize anything?
Yeah.
I don't believe them when they say that just rest and everything will come back. But being in No One Wants to See the Wires was completely structured. Same time of day, same day of the week, same location, same people, same work. And so that alone takes a ton off your plate. And you can just concentrate on, what do I need to do? Nothing else is going to change. And so I got a lot of practice on things, which improved me. And then I went on and made another film. And that's just more practice. And then you get more confidence. And also time passes, and some people get better. And I have gotten quite a bit better, partly from the practice, partly from time. So the other answer to the question is, how do you go from not being able to cook a piece of fish to making a documentary? Well, half of my footage was blurry. Some of it...
I don't think you're the only filmmaker that has had blurry footage of.
No, I'm probably not. But with the level of camera I've got, with the level of tools on that camera, a lot of the footage was either blue, or it looked like it was filmed in the fiery bowels of Mars. What else? Sometimes I couldn't figure out how to turn my microphone on, even though it was the same one I'd been using earlier. I didn't set the lights up right. I didn't put the camera in the right place. So,
so you folks watching out there, take notes. Making a show is not simple.
It's not.
There's lighting, there's sound, and then there's constant update of equipment. And you're switching stuff out here and there.
Yeah, it's a lot it's a lot for anyone to keep track of. But the cognitive impairments that were the reason I couldn't cook the fish are not gone, and they are the reason that I don't remember to focus the camera. I don't remember to set the white balance. I put the camera in the wrong place, and then I move it, and then I focus it, and then I move it back, and then I don't refocus it. And mistakes, showing up at the wrong time, showing up with the wrong equipment. So yeah, I made a documentary, but it was a struggle. It was very, very hard in ways it would not have been hard before. So, yeah.
But thank God you tried to cook a fish 4 years ago, because without that, who knows where you would be right now.
I'd still be lying in bed recovering.
How do you keep track of all that stuff?
I don't have a full-time job, so I have time.
Well, still, I mean...
It's hard.
For anyone, it would be hard.
Right.
And with a brain injury, it's got to be...
It's harder, yeah. But you do it. I mean, what do you say when someone says, well, how did you climb Mount Everest? You say you did it, right?
Yeah.
It was hard and you did it.
It was hard, yeah, we did it.
Yeah. So I'm not...
a lot involved in it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the same with your...
Well, I'm not comparing my world online and in film with you climbing Mount Everest, but it's the same thing where it just... I know it seems indescribable or hard to imagine how it gets done, but when it's your life, you do it, right? Yeah. You climb Mount Everest, you scuba dive, you travel the world, because that's what you want to do, so you make it happen.
Passion,
yeah. So, same way. A lot of crying, a lot of naps.
Cheryl's done a lot of work, and we've listed them here, some of her works here, for you to see. Now, you can also look at these web links on our webpage. If you look at the show summary for traumatic brain injury, you'll see a listing of these links that you can click on. Just look for the Traumatic Brain Injury Show. Now we discuss how the news media portrays people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned media representation of people with disabilities. Yeah. Have you seen the show Ironside?
I haven't. Mm-mm.
Well, it's no longer on the air.
I noticed, I heard.
It ran for 4 episodes. It was about a police detective, became paraplegic. It was a horrible show. I think it was just poorly written,
Mm.
and I think a lot of people in the disability community didn't like the way they portrayed the guy, the actor with supposedly a disability.
Mhm.
But we'll change that with folks like you and I out in the media.
That's
maybe
right.
People get a more realistic idea of what we're like.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, that guy didn't even have a disability. Do
Yeah.
not tell me
Right,
you
right.
cannot find a good-looking black man actor who uses a wheelchair in his daily life. You
Yeah.
really can't find him? Come on.
And I mean, there's thousands of vets coming back every year. Certainly one of them's got to be talented enough to do a job like that. And with
Absolutely.
a military background, they would know, be able to portray a policeman. So
That's right. They have a good work ethic. They
Yeah.
take direction well. It's just ridiculous. And you hear over and over, well, we don't cast actual disabled actors because they wouldn't be up for the rigors of... Well, first of all, they're not acting disabled. They
Yeah.
already have the
Yeah,
disability.
yeah.
Second of all, why do you think that all we do is lie around and nap?
Mhm.
I
Well,
nap a lot, but it's not my primary activity. But I have heard that so many times. Well, it wouldn't be up for the rigor. Ask us if
Right.
we'd be up for the rigors of the job. Some people would be. Ooh, but yeah, that's become my main drive with making films is accurate representations because it is people with disabilities making and starring in my films. I don't do crypt drag, and I don't have non-disabled people come in and write a script and I perform it. It's all from inside.
But in the area of brain injury, I'm thinking there's got to be a lot of a huge spectrum of abilities and disabilities, and
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
so it'd be hard to generalize.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm.
So that's the message, folks. That if you're talking to someone with brain injury, it could be any one of a number of
Yeah.
things to expect.
Most likely I would expect a wild card. I'd be prepared for that. That's the most common thing.
So expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected, yeah. And more than anything, expect that we can accomplish things. I would like that to be the default assumption. Now, I know
Absolutely.
I'm considered high functioning, if you want to use a term like that. I think it's clear. I live on my
aspire
own.
to be high functioning someday.
Yeah. I have a lot of friends who live in a residential facility that's staffed 24 hours a day because they need a level of care that they can't provide for themselves all on their own because they have more severe impairments than I have. But I still would challenge people to have your default assumption the first time you meet them is that they can do things. Not everything. We're not superhuman and we have limitations like anybody, but I'm tired of the assumption that, brain injury,
Well,
you can't do anything.
Every time I read a news story about someone with a disability, so-and-so with a disability, or so-and-so accomplished this despite the fact they had a disability. Well, for God's sakes, folks, give us some credit once in a while and just say, this guy did it. Oh, and by the way, he has a disability.
And because you scuba and climb Everest and edit videos the way that you do because you are who you are. So what is this despite thing? And it's not inherently a tragedy.
Exactly, yeah. And what I'm afraid is that kind of image percolates over into the employment area, and the boss will think, well, why should I hire someone with disabilities? Are they going to be able to do this despite their disability? No, that kind of thinking just permeates every facet of society.
It does.
So the default should be assume someone can't do something. Until they tell you otherwise.
Yeah. But you gotta be realistic. Like, if I see you rolling down the street, I'm not gonna assume you can climb stairs, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think cognitively, I take a wheelchair when I'm at the airport because my vision is messed up and my balance is messed up just enough that it causes a problem. And and just the overstimulation of all the people drives me berserk. And so if I take a wheelchair, I can close my eyes and someone will push me through the airport and then everybody's happier because I'm not throwing a temper tantrum, I'm not falling, I'm not crashing into people. But I have had a TSA agent bend down. Okay, so I'm going to have you go through that, right? I am nearly 40 years old and I've been flying since I was 5. Why are you speaking? So she saw the wheelchair and assumed I had very little cognitive capacity. Nasty. Why would you just assume that I can't understand or that I even need an explanation? I know what the security line is. You're in my way. And it's so nasty when people see a wheelchair that they just assume can't, anything. Can't. And that has, nasty.
Yeah. But we will take advantage of it when we can't get to the front of the lines at Disney first.
Not anymore. Now you have to get that pass or...
You gotta prove you have a disability or something like that.
Yeah.
It gets hard. But Dave, you should be here with us, with Cheryl, because she's got some fascinating stories. And
oh, did you have a question or just want me to ramble about losing my friends?
have they readjusted to you, or have you been able to help them understand your situation? Do you understand your situation better?
That's a good question. I do understand my situation now. I am much more able to understand my situation, and more importantly, I'm able to recognize my behavior. Not always. I mean, my partner will still, Cheryl, do you realize that you're throwing food up on top of the cupboards? Oh, okay, I guess I am. He's like, okay, so you're agitated, right? Yeah, I am agitated, okay. And then he questions me until I figure out what's wrong. But I don't really recognize that I'm throwing food up there. I don't recognize that it's a problem. I don't recognize that it's a weird behavior. But most of the time now I do. Okay, but you asked.
Yeah, after your injury with your friends and such, if they could understand.
No, I have pretty much a whole new set of friends now, to be honest. And some of that, maybe a lot of that is my inflexibility. What was I
Well, I
saying?
imagine it's hard to say to your friends before the injury, to the ones that you had before you became injured, hey, come back, I'm okay now, or I'm getting better, or I understand things now, or...
Well, it's not even that. You'd think it was that. What happened was getting involved in No One Wants to See the Wires, and I have been performing with different groups of different disabled artists and disability arts groups. I've been performing with them in Portland as a non-disabled person, just mixed abilities arts.
Okay, you were doing this before you became...
Yes, not film. I'd never done film before, but I was doing performance art, dance, theater. That's where I met you, Gene Rogers.
Did you get that, Dave?
So I had been doing that stuff on and off for many years, and I had acquaintances and some friends in the disability arts community. And I made the film, and then I started getting more and more involved with these people who have had disabilities either their entire lives or for many decades, and who have a very strong sense of disability pride, disability rights, disability justice. And I've been so involved with them that I find myself completely impatient with my old friends who are not into that stuff. And so I think a lot of it is me, and it is not even impairment-based at all anymore. It was back then.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the problem was. I don't remember why. There's a lot of stuff I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that's typical of people with brain injuries?
Forgetfulness, yeah. So it could be forgetfulness, or it could be...
or maybe even changing the type of people you hang with or are friends with.
That's very common. Yeah, and a lot of times that is around impairment. So, I had a friend who also had a brain injury, and we hung out a lot, and we enjoyed commiserating. But she told me one day that I exacerbated her symptoms too much, and she needed a break from me. And so that was about it. We tried to rekindle the friendship a few months later, and it just didn't work. And I'm like, I don't know. If you give me direct instructions, like speak quieter, or sit further away from me, or let's set a timer and we stop talking every 10 minutes, something that I could learn how to change, I would change that for a friend. But she didn't give me any instructions. She just said, you make me worse. And, I ran out
that
of...
was, excuse me, but that seems really unfair.
Well, it is, but it isn't. I commend her for just being honest and taking care of her needs. You know what? You make me worse. Go away. Good for her. It was hard to understand, but there are other people who I'm around who increase my anxiety when I'm around them, or they talk very loudly and it hurts my ears. So I could say they make me worse. I could say that. So I spend less time with them, maybe, or only do certain kinds of things with them. But, if you don't give me honest feedback about what I could do differently, I won't know what to do differently.
Well, perhaps it could have been rephrased then, rather than say you make me worse, say, I'm a little bit uncomfortable around you.
Sure. Yeah, I agree that there are nicer ways to say it, but I am very guilty of saying things in the most unnice way. And that's common with brain injury too, is you get impulsive and you want to say something and you just say it without stopping to think how it might make the other person feel. That's very common.
I've got that problem too.
Yeah.
that inner voice, and there's supposed to be a filter there, but it doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work. It really doesn't. So I have a bunch of new friends now, mostly because I enjoy being around people who are interested in disability pride, and who don't ever ask me to do things better than I can do them. My friends outside the disability community, I think, were constantly, you're doing better. Are you doing better? You seem to be improving. And I'm like, you know what? I've been discharged from the hospital for 2 years now. I was only in the hospital for a couple of hours. Like, stop talking to me like I'm a patient.
Yeah.
And so I got tired of that. That made me more angry. That made me feel worse. And my friends in the disability community don't ever tell me, wow, you're doing... Well, once in a blue moon, someone will say, wow, you're doing a whole lot better. But they don't say it as just some empty compliment. They'll say, the last time I saw you, you were yelling all the time and crying all the time, and now you seem to have self-control. Really concrete stuff I can understand. And I appreciate that.
I think one of the biggest compliments I get is when someone treats me like I'm normal.
They don't go, you're so inspiring for being out without your attendant.
Right,
That's not a compliment, is it?
Right, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. But, yeah.
So if you said, I went scuba diving last summer, okay, I'll be you, and you be the person who says a good thing. So, hey, I'm Jean Rogers. I went scuba diving this summer.
Oh, scuba diving, I wish I could do that. That sounds like such a great thing. So, is that right? Did I say the right thing?
Oh, no, I was asking you if that's the thing you'd like to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would like to hear.
Yeah. Or like, where'd you go? Ooh, where'd you go scuba diving?
Yeah.
Like just, I'm Jean, I went scuba diving.
Yeah. Like maybe we were friends we just met online or over online, so they can't see that I'm in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's no assumptions about ability or disability, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just, what are your interests, or what do you,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of work do you do, whatever, things like that.
But then people see the wheelchair, they see you, and it just suddenly changes. And
Oh, tell me, and then I'm going to tell you the story.
Okay.
Don't get anxious.
Thank you. I'm getting anxious. I'm getting really upset about this because before, again, you can see I'm really not that impaired.
Right.
My impairments are mild, and in a calm situation like this, they really don't come out because I'm not taxed. I'm not under pressure. And still, people's expectations for me have changed. So no longer will I do something great, but the expectation for me is that I will be comfortable and happy. And
God help you if you're not.
You're not trying hard enough. But I get that much more. I just want for you to be comfortable. I hope that you're happy. I hope that things become easier for you. And I want someone to say to me, I hope you make a badass film and make lots of money and make a name for yourself. Like what they would have said if they didn't know I had a brain injury.
Right.
But now my biggest aspiration is to be comfortable and happy.
Yeah.
All right, what's your
That's the best I can do.
Yes, best I can do is be happy. I'm taking a nap.
We were, when I was in college, we were traveling by van through Central America, and we picked up a French-Canadian hitchhiker along the way and a German hitchhiker.
Who doesn't?
Exactly, especially in foreign countries. And we were in Panama, and we met this, we stopped at a fruit stand, and we met this Panamanian doctor there who got his medical training in Chicago. So he saw that we were Americans and wanted to meet us, talk with us, whatever. And I was sitting in the front seat of the van. My friends took me out of my manual wheelchair. They put me in the front seat of the van. So this guy didn't know I used a wheelchair. He just saw me sitting in front of the van. And he referred to me as Howard Hughes. Apparently I had some resemblance to Howard Hughes or something, but he kept referring to me as Howard Hughes. And he invited us to his brother's beach house and such, spend the night there. So we go there, someone opens the van door and they pick me up to set me in my wheelchair. So this is the first time the doctor's finding out that I use a wheelchair. And he said, oh, I thought he was, and the German hitchhiker says, he still is, Howard Hughes. And the doctor says, yes, he's Howard Hughes, of course. So it was a bonding moment. We all figured out that the wheelchair doesn't make any difference. So some people get it.
I've also been told, and people do repeat this to me because I get anxious and I forget, is that you have to be generous with people who don't get it, especially if you know there was a time earlier in your life when you didn't get it.
Oh, God, yeah.
And so you have to be generous with people the way you hope people are being generous with, golden rule kind of stuff. But it's hard when you acquired your disability. I acquired mine. And you forget that you didn't know about disability before that. No, come on, everybody, catch up. But God, to slow down and be generous. Because otherwise, if you do what I do, which is get agitated and pick fights, you've lost them. They're never going to listen. And yet there are plenty of people who still are never going to listen. They're not going to try.
I remember shutting people out when I was first injured. Later, of course, I became more enlightened, but and I'm thinking, I'm sorry I treated them the way I did.
So you...
Because there was a time I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure things out.
So you also went through a transition and had to get new friends because... Yeah,
absolutely.
And you feel like that was because of how you treated them?
Well, it was a combination of things. I broke my neck when I was 17. I spent a month in the hospital, 11 months in rehab, and that would have been my senior year in high school. And then from there, I went away to college. After I got out of the hospital or rehab, I went away to college. So I think for a lot of people, there's that transition in their life. They're the friends they had in high school, and then when they go to college, it's a new set of friends.
Right.
So there was that. And then when I was at college, when I first got there, I just figured, well, I'm going to study and going to do what I got to do. And that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only thing I was thinking of. And my attendant was trying to get me out, get me to be active. And I just didn't have anything to do with it. And then something clicked, and I met some folks that treated me like I was normal. And all right, let's go. What?
Were they people with disabilities too?
No.
Oh wow.
No, not at all.
Wow.
So I say, hey, you want to go to spring break? I never thought about it. Let's go. Okay, so that was the beginning of my change, I guess.
Wow. That's a really cool story. And what's similar in our stories was that it was a group of people who knew themselves and knew what they wanted and how to get it and brought you along.
Exactly.
Except in your case, it was people without disabilities. And it was my case, it was a hunk of people with disabilities. But the same sort of thing, like, oh, where do I go with this? What do I do? What do I do now? This wasn't how I was planning to do this. Mm-hmm. Come on, just come with us. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
That was interesting how Cheryl noticed the difference between the two of us. She got adjusted to her disability with the help of friends with disabilities. In my case, I got adjusted to my disability with the help of friends who didn't have disabilities. So it's kind of strange that way, but ultimately we both adjusted to our new lives. Now Cheryl points out that some strangers will ask us the most intimate questions, sometimes bringing up the most traumatic incidents of our life. You'll want to listen to this. Get to know us first, folks. Some of us are kind of sensitive about the questions we get asked. Take us out, buy us a beer, and then we can talk. Let's take a look.
I want to ask you about the most vulnerable part of your life. Or I want to ask you something terrible that's happened to you. First of all, people assume...
Let me rekindle those horrible memories for you.
Right? It's like... Everyone I meet who is outside of the disability community... Oh, you had a brain injury? How did it happen? Okay. I know that you're curious, and that's a good thing for a human to be curious. Mm-hmm. But have you stopped... We're the ones who are accused of not considering others' feelings. You just asked me to reflect back on something that was traumatic. Now, emotionally, it wasn't traumatic, or it probably was at the time. I don't know, I don't remember. But I can tell the story now without being re-traumatized by it. But what if I was re-traumatized by it? And what gives people the right to ask, what's wrong with you? Do I go up to you and ask you what's wrong with you?
And folks, to put this in some type of perspective...
I forgot the camera was on.
Let's assume you're talking to a veteran that just returned from Afghanistan or wherever, who had his legs blown off by an IED, an improvised explosive device. Would you say? So how did you feel when you got your legs blown off, or how did that happen? There's some things you just don't say. Until you know someone really well, and
right.
Even then you...
And because so many of our wounded warriors also have PTSD, you have to respect that. You shouldn't ask anybody, where'd your legs go?
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, it's such a huge disrespect. But then if it's something extremely traumatic, like having your legs blown off by an IED, why would you put that warrior through that? Mm-hmm. Don't bring that up. Let this person go about their day. They were going about their day just fine without you interfering in it, just for your pleasure. And people will ask me, oh, you had a brain injury, was it traumatic? And I'll be like, this conversation's traumatic? Wait, stop. But here's the new one I've been practicing. When somebody says something that I find extremely intrusive. Awkward.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's it. That's the whole answer. Are you a thalidomide baby? Awkward.
I'll have to use that one myself sometime.
Yeah, because it's one thing to say no, I'm not, and leave. But to point out to them, you made a social faux pas just now. I'm just as much of a person as you are. And you just, golden rule here. Do you want people to invade your privacy? Don't.
So folks, let that be a lesson to you. You know, Cheryl, in fact, most of our viewers don't have disabilities.
Who are you people? You will.
So,
You're a tab. You're temporarily able-bodied.
Or a crab, currently regarded as able-bodied. So just treat us like people, for God's sake.
Yes, just that, just the people.
Yeah. And then when you get to really know us, then we can talk.
Then you can treat us like objects.
Yes.
As the relationship dictates. Yes. But let's say shit like
this is Candid Conversation with Cheryl.
So, it's always bound. I'll always end up putting my foot in my mouth.
Well, this has been fun.
Yes, it has been fun. And I appreciate conversations about respect. Respecting people and respecting people's boundaries and respecting people's humanity. And, yeah.
I don't know if it was a good thing. Well, I think it was a good thing. My parents taught me, particularly my mother taught me proper manners when I was young. But now that I'm grown up, I mean, I don't always practice them, but I can recognize them in other people. Mm-hmm. And when they don't. And when they make social faux pas, like asking highly personal questions.
And it's so impolite, and it targets you. Because you know they wouldn't have asked you that. Like the guy in Panama, he didn't see your body.
Right.
He just saw your head.
Yeah.
Didn't make any assumptions about your abilities.
Yep.
But then he sees your body. Oh, things changed. Why? They didn't.
And I was so happy that he got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank goodness.
But you know, I do enjoy the opportunities when little kids will say something like, you know, why can't you move your legs? Or why do you use that? Or that would be fun to ride or something like that.
Yeah.
And some others will, tell the kids, no, it's enough, let's go. But other times they'll let me talk to the kids, and it's a good opportunity to educate them. And,
yeah. Is that what you like about kids asking?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't ever want someone to be afraid of me because I have a disability. I think it's better that they learn rather than being taught, no, avoid them. They have a disability. That's
right. Yeah, and I've heard that from some of my other friends with physical disabilities of when the parents, no, don't ask them personal questions. Don't. Then that child might decide everybody who uses a wheelchair is someone you shouldn't approach. And
exactly, yeah.
You're just as likely to be a good friend or a good whatever as anybody else. But when you're young, it's easy to just generalize to everything. Oh, everybody who uses a wheelchair, I shouldn't approach.
Right.
But people who are standing, I should approach. That's just fine. And that just segregates us.
But I learned there are some limits. When I was living in Albuquerque, I would talk to kids there, and I gave the one kid a ride on my lap, and I even let him drive my chair, and we were in the street, and there was no traffic, so it was no worries. We were driving on the street, and he got to a driveway, and he drives right up one side of the beveled curve there, and the chair flips over on its side. And I think the kid was more scared than I was hurt, but still, I like to interact with them.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. We were just talking about people stop coming up and saying, what's wrong with you? Why don't your legs work? But when kids do it, that's a good opportunity for education. Why? What is it for you that makes the difference?
I think kids have... I automatically believe kids are really trying to learn. They're trying to explore their environment, find out what's going on around them, and they soak up knowledge. They want to learn everything. But with adults, they've got so many preconceived issues before they, when they're talking to you, and I don't know. I just have more fun with kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good question because adults have the right to be inquisitive too, I suppose, or to be educated, but
They do, but
they shouldn't be making. They should know better than answer the questions.
yeah, and I mean, you hit on several different parts of it too. That a child is trying to learn. Oh, this seems new. I need to understand what I'm looking at here. This situation is new to me. Whereas, the person who came up and asked you if you were a thalidomide baby has some experience around people with disabilities, and so they've created this box around it. Like you said, the preconceived ideas, and they were just checking, do you fit in my box or not? Whereas a child's just like, I need to understand a new situation here and meet this new person. And it seems less intrusive when a child says, I need to learn something new right now, than when a person is so presumptuous. Oh, I've seen disabilities before. Oh, people will tell me all the time. My grandfather was diagnosed with anxiety. I'm like, I actually don't care.
Right.
I don't know your grandpa, and I don't have any right to the information. Does your grandpa know you're telling me that?
Or I broke my leg. I was in a wheelchair for a month, so I know exactly what you're going through.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what?
I think so.
I didn't sleep for a couple nights. I was just really anxious. I know exactly what it's like to be cognitively impaired. Oh, my God. Do people actually say, I broke my leg, and so I know what it's like?
Yeah. They're trying to find some common ground, something to relate to.
But
I guess.
You're a person, so there's a huge wealth of things they could explore to find common ground.
Well, you're right.
Right? Like, why? Oh, I know exactly. No, you don't.
I guess they go for the easiest common denominator. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it's not, because being someone who uses a wheelchair every day, there is so much more than just sitting and moving on wheels. There is all the social aspects. There's the discrimination. There's the strangers on the bus talking to you when you are not looking at them and initiating contact and asking for conversation, but just barging in. Employment. There's so much discrimination and stereotype and stigma that goes along with it.
And I know that every day, if someone doesn't show up to get me out of bed, that could be my last day. Because if I'm stuck in bed for a couple of days, that's it.
Yeah.
It's all over but the crying.
Yeah.
So I know that people that break their leg, they can get in and out of the chair, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't know that. So if you're looking for common ground or whatever, let's do a beer.
Let's do a
get
beer.
together. We'll
You like
talk.
beer?
Yeah.
Nice cowboy shirt. Nice pearl snap cowboy shirt.
There
Are you
you
from
go.
Are you from Texas?
Actually, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
You look like a Texan.
And I've got some cowboy hats too.
Yeah, and the pearl snaps. Damn.
But I'm born and bred Cleveland, Ohio, and I love my pierogies and kielbasa and.
I'm actually a native Texan. Did you know that?
I'm trying to remember. I think you told me that once before, and I forgot. But
most people
San Antonio.
San Antonio. Most people assume New York.
Oh.
Because I talk fast and I'm very blunt.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a native Texan, and I truly pegged you for a native Texan.
Really? Wow.
And I think it's because, well, the pearl snap shirt but you're super outdoorsy and adventurous, and I just think of the
The Marlboro man who wishes he was me.
Yeah. Yes. And also, you've been in Texas for a really long time.
You know, that reminds me, talking with kids sometimes, like, see my fingers and say, can't you move them? And no, folks, I can't move my fingers at all. But I'll say, well, no, and I can't walk, but there's other things I can do. And like you mentioned, whatever, skydiving or scuba diving or traveling, whatever, there's so much we can do. So just walking is highly overrated.
Oh, absolutely. I had so much fun borrowing your wheelchair.
I'm glad you did.
Oh, here's one. So I made a short documentary for a class recently, and the star of the documentary is my good friend LaVon Heister, and she is a papercraft artist, She does paper cutouts.
And you used to make your own cards, right?
I did.
Yeah.
What a great memory. You are clearly not brain injured. All right.
So she makes her own.
Yeah, so she doesn't make her own paper at this point, but she cuts out heavy paper and makes beautiful, beautiful designs and layers them all up so they're tactile. You could enjoy them even if you had low vision or no vision. Mm-hmm. You could enjoy the art. And she has low vision herself. She sometimes uses the term low vision or legally blind or visually impaired, whatever. So I'm making this film about her, and somebody from the film school where I took my classes asked me one day, hey, what's your film about? I'm like, oh, well, it's this entrepreneur artist who's legally blind, and she does visual arts. And she just goes, how does she do that? I'm like, she cuts out paper and lays it all out, and it's really beautiful. And I think the person from the film school was saying something about how that's hard or something, which I don't know. If you watch Levon, it doesn't actually look like it's hard for you to do this art.
People that are highly competent make it look easy.
Yes, and she makes it look easy. And but I was saying something about Levon dealing with having an online presence. You know, you've got to have a Facebook business page. You got to have a website. You get email blast. And the woman just is like, well, how does she do that? How does she use the internet? And I said, she works really hard.
There you go.
That's how she does it. She works really hard, and she does it. And this person was so dissatisfied with that answer. She wanted the gruesome details. She wanted information, and she was not happy with the knowledge that Levon uses the internet the same way I use the internet. But it takes her longer, and she works harder than I do. That's actually a truthful answer. She doesn't use a screen reader.
She doesn't have special assistive technology.
Nope. I mean, she magnifies what's on the screen. It's huge. And so then she's got to move it around a lot. But that still fits within the answer of she just works harder. And this person was just not satisfied. And I just thought, I've given you the full answer that you need. Would you like to ask what her art looks like? No, you haven't asked me what her art looks like, but you've asked me how on earth it is that she could possibly use a computer. And I mean, assistive technology has been around for a long time. You know, in the community, you know, you could make some assumptions. Oh, I wonder if she does this or this. But this person was so far out of it. She had no frame of reference, and I just thought, I feel like your questioning is rude. And I don't feel like answering you right now because I'm I'm a little bit inflexible and impatient.
I see. Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm not going to tell you anything. You wait till the premiere, and then you can watch her using the computer.
Right. And this is some of the things we show on the Gene and Dave show. We show how people either actually use the computer to get the information they want, how they interface with the computer. And then we show how people who write programs or web pages, how they can, if they do it correctly, they can make it so much easier for folks with disabilities to read the web pages or find the information they're looking for.
That's right. This stuff can be accessible. It really can. I've seen on your site, I think you can click the button that eliminates some of the background stuff, and so it's more visually accessible.
That was high contrast that Cheryl was talking about when she referred to our webpage, www.thegeneanddaveshow.com. Our site has a lot of accessibility features. Here, we'll toggle on and off the high contrast feature so you can see the difference. This really helps some folks with visual impairments. I want to thank Cheryl Green for joining us. We really enjoyed Cheryl's candid conversation. And in fact, we had to take some breaks in filming because our studio lights were so hot. And I shut off the camera when we took our breaks, but I wish I had kept it on because Cheryl had so many great stories to tell us. Maybe we'll have her on again later. I'd also like to thank my twin brother Gene, the quad father, for being here. It was my pleasure, Gene. So long, folks. Until next time.
This program was made possible from the support of VSA Texas and Amerigroup.
Until you're standing tall, you can be a solution. Rise up, Amerigroup.